What's up guys, Shawnee Dogs here, and the first thing I am going to say is don't believe everything you see on the internet. It is a scary place. If you don't believe me, just go ahead and look up 2 girls, 1 cup, or 1 man, 1 jar. You're welcome. But less than 24 hours ago, it was quote unquote leaked, the list for E3. It showed all the different games coming out. I'm not even going to show you the list because it was complete and utter bullshit. Someone made up this list. It didn't even spell Naughty Dog, a game developer, correctly. They didn't put a Y, so they spent all that time for nothing. And the game that they put on the list for the new Call of Duty was Call of Duty Chemical Warfare. That doesn't even have a nice ring to it. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's what they came up with. Now, if you want some actual information about when this new COD is coming to us, when they're gonna leak anything at all, what usually happens is some douchebag down at Treyarch Studios, or whoever studios, depending on who's making the game, makes a mysterious tweet like, "Oh, something wicked this way comes," and then they put the little googly eyes at the end. And then like a week later, they'll do a little teaser, a trailer, or some images will come up, and we will see some actual footage of the new COD in progress. So don't get your panties in a bunch. None of this will be coming to us until mid to late April at the earliest, based on previous Call of Duties. Maybe, just maybe, they might do it a little bit earlier because this is the worst selling COD in quite a while, but don't get your hopes up. We got a whole nother month to go before any of that starts happening, and I'm sure that because there's a lot leading up to it, there's going to be a lot more fake attempts to try and get you to think what the new Call of Duty is, because that's just what people do. People have a lot of free time on their hands. They like to mess around in Photoshop, make a bunch of fake lists or fake images, and try to pass them off as real. So you should be seeing a large amount of those in the next few days. And if you do see any of those, like on Twitter, or you see a YouTube video, you see some sort of clickbait thumbnail, if it's before like April 15th, there's a 99% chance that it's fake. And a lot of people are saying that this is going to be Call of Duty Vietnam or something similar, something back in the old days using old weapons. I'm not sure if that is going to be the case. I've been playing Call of Duty since COD 4, and when World at War came out, it wasn't like massively successful in terms of the player base. Back then they actually showed how many people were on the game, and I know that within a month I stopped playing it and went back to COD 4, and there were actually more people playing COD 4 than World at War, which is unheard of at this day and age. You'll probably never see more people on the last COD than you will on the new one, because after that year, people just never touched the game again. I know I haven't touched Black Ops 3 since Infinite Warfare came out, but that's just me. I'm sure some people do, but the general population does not. So what I'm getting at here is if they look at some of the data, or they're trying to analyze, see what people will like, because it already is confirmed that next Call of Duty is going to be boots on the ground. That's been confirmed for quite a while now. But again, if they're looking at any of these statistics, I don't know if it's such a smart move to go back to World War II or World War I, or just use older weapons. Let's be honest, they kind of suck. Maybe there's that small percentage of the COD population that is into that. They're big history buffs. They love the history of these old weapons. They look cool to them. But a lot of the player base of COD is newer, younger kids. They don't give a shit about World War I and II. They like things that are new and fast-paced. That is just today's generation, myself included. I don't really hate on Infinite Warfare all that much. I just think it was an unfinished game. But besides that, it's actually pretty decent, in my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree. This trailer had it's like the second most disliked video on all of YouTube, but I just don't see it. When I go back on Black Ops 3, you did have a little bit more boost on the EXO, but the movement in this game is so much more fluid. The core gameplay is really good, especially when I play this on PS4 when the hit detection actually works. It is a lot of fun to play. The gameplay is really solid, and going back to boots on the ground, I really just don't agree with that. They're just trying to listen, trying to appease this massive player base where probably over 50% of the people are saying, oh my god, these jetpacks are so dumb. I turn a corner and a guy's 30 feet in the air and absolutely melts me. Well, yeah, that's because most of the player base of any game that you play, it's going to be casual players. These players aren't running around with scuff controllers. They're not playing on stick and move. They barely know the basics of the game. I'm not trying to say everyone is terrible, but probably more than 50% of the players on any game, they're going to suck at the game. That's just how it works. So you have all these noobs complaining that there's too much complexity in the game. They cannot handle this jetpacking system. So what does Call of Duty do? They take it out completely. I think next COD, people are going to love it at first because the game developers actually listened to them. They went back to boots on the ground, but then they will soon realize that Call of Duty has evolved past that. We've had jetpacks in the last 3 CODs. We're so used to it now, so used to that increased skill gap, and we're gonna go back to boots on the ground. Do you know what people do in boots on the ground? If you guys play Modern Warfare Remastered, you get killed by corner campers and people sitting in head glitches for 3 minutes. Pretty much every single death. You're only gonna die because you try running out there when everyone else is camping. It is a much slower paced game, and some people will argue that, oh yeah, it's better because there's more strategy to it, but this is not competitive Call of Duty. The minds of these people are not thinking that way. They're just thinking, oh my god, let me sit in this corner so I don't get destroyed, and they just wait for people passing by, and it actually works. There's nothing you can do about it, because if you run past a corner and there's a kid sitting in it, you can't boost 30 feet in the air to dodge all of this noob's bullets and he hasn't moved in 2 minutes. You're just gonna die instantly, because that's what happens on boots on the ground. I said it months ago, and I will say it time and time again. I will stick by it. People are going to love this game for 2 weeks, maybe even a full month, until they realize what they have done to Call of Duty, what they made these developers change the game back into. I think it is a step back. We are going back into the Stone Ages with boots on the ground. We're not quite ready for what is about to happen, and people will turn on the game very, very quickly, and they will start to hate it. I have nothing against boots on the ground. My favorite and most fun times in Call of Duty were on COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2, but we just can't go back to that. It's different playing it now that players have been playing Call of Duty for years and years. The actual gameplay in that game, if they brought it back, would be toxic. Modern Warfare 2, if they remastered that, everyone would be quickscoping with an intervention or noob tubing with one-man army. There's no in between. The game would be unplayable. Every death would be instant from an explosion or a sniper, and it would be a massive gimmick. That's not going to stop them from remastering it. It's not going to stop people from playing it because of the nostalgia. I know I would probably even play it just because I loved that game so much, but it is not the same anymore. That is probably the main reason I don't play Modern Warfare Remastered. It's just not the same game. Obviously, they added new weapons. I'm not really talking about that. I just mean the core gameplay. Yeah, it worked back then, but people are assholes. People will camp in corners. People won't move. They'll use shotguns. It's just not good core gameplay because of what was in the game. In Infinite Warfare, there is no safety net for noobs. There's no super newbie strategy. Unless you're playing hardcore, you can sit in corners and do all that kind of bullshit. But in core, there's no stopping a really good player from absolutely destroying an enemy team. In boots on the ground, it just can't happen. The level of slaying out just isn't the same because it brings the game down to just gun skill, which there isn't much of a skill gap. Even if you're an amazing player, you can get killed by a terrible player because he has the drop on you because he hasn't moved, sitting in a head glitch for the last minute. I know I'll probably lose some subs for talking about the game this way, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you like it is, and that is how I feel about Call of Duty. But anyways, that is my rant for the day. I hope you did enjoy this gameplay. I tried to mix it up a little. I have not sniped in this game since I got Black Sky for these weapons, and that was back in November. So I was a bit rusty to say the least, but if you did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like, comment down below with your thoughts or questions. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm sure there are a lot of different opinions out there on the current COD, previous CODs, and future CODs to come. So I want to hear it all, and subscribe if you are new to the channel for some more great videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.